You guys hear that? That's the sound of good tasting coffee. This video is brought to you. No, I wish I was sponsored by a fucking coffee roastery or something. That would be so sick in the future, maybe. Fingers crossed. All right, guys, listen. I've recorded this video 2 times now. The first time I recorded it, I deleted it because you could see the reflection of me and my boxers in the TV screen. So I had to delete that one. The second one, oh my god, I almost did it again. That was really close, guys. That was so close. The second one, I didn't start this. The background footage. I'm so pissed. But okay. I have pants on and the video's playing. Hopefully this is the last time I record this video. In which case, let's begin. Phantom Liberty, I want to talk about this expansion pack. But before talking about the expansion pack, I just want to talk briefly about the history. The rocky, very rocky history of Cyberpunk. I think we can all agree that Cyberpunk 2077 launched in a 6-foot hole underground. As Cyberpunk was buried alive, CD Projekt Red managed to claw its way meter after meter through the dirt and bring Cyberpunk out of this 6-foot hole, up on top, and turn it somehow into one of the most celebrated RPGs of this generation, if not,
dare I say, of all time.
It really is an astonishing achievement that CD Projekt Red here has accomplished. I used to actively hate Cyberpunk 2077 as well, for no good reason other than ignorance and getting in on the action. Like, oh dude, maybe I should hate on Cyberpunk, that'd be cool. That'd be so sick if I just hate on Cyberpunk. What an idiot I was. The bugs and glitches were probably the most disseminated reality of Cyberpunk, but that doesn't paint the whole picture of what Cyberpunk is. Cyberpunk already had good stories in it. Cyberpunk already had a fantastically realized setting that is Night City in it. Cyberpunk already had pretty good combat systems in it. At some point, there was a glow in the sky. There was like this angelic glow. You can hear it now. You can hear the voices of the angels singing and the trumpets of the choirs and the angelic band playing in the background. In the sky there was a glow like none other. It was in the shape of an Edgerunner. This Edgerunner shaped glow helped in more ways than one to bring Cyberpunk to where it is now. I will not, like, you cannot change my mind on that. Personally, and maybe together with many others, I would not have loved Cyberpunk the way I do now if it wasn't for Edgerunners. The biggest thing is this. Edgerunners, its barrier to entry was very, very low. The barrier to entry was this. Do you have a screen that is connected to the internet? Yes? Awesome. Do you have a subscription to Netflix? Yes, fantastic. Get into Cyberpunk. It was that simple. Because with Cyberpunk 2077, the barrier to entry was much, much higher. It was, do you have either a console or a competent PC to run the game? Yes? Okay, cool. That cost a lot of money already. Okay, do you have maybe 60, 40, 30, maybe even $20 US to spare for the base game? Yeah? Cool. Great. Now we have an expansion pack. Do you want to get in on that action? Huh? You got another fucking $30, $40 to spend right there. Easy. And then you got to spend many, many hours of your time and your day in Cyberpunk to get into the real meat and potatoes of the game. Very clear difference in barrier of entry. And yes, even though Edgerunners was only one story, it was a well-written story that made me cry like an absolute baby. Alright, I was crying rivers. Rivers of blood. Shout out Elden Ring, I just got a fucking flashback there. Edgerunners, it may have only been one story. It was such a well-crafted product that it did an even better job in disseminating Night City as a setting and as a universe, Cyberpunk as a universe. It did a much better job than the game itself. I just want to get it out there. I'm not saying Cyberpunk 2077 does a bad job. It has a higher bar of entry. I would say Cyberpunk does a better job in showcasing what Night City has to offer. But in terms of disseminating and like letting other people know, Edgerunners takes that. In any case, as bittersweet as it is, Phantom Liberty is Cyberpunk 2077's first and last expansion pack. I want to talk about Phantom Liberty and what makes it great. Sorry for the intro, which was, honestly, it feels a little bit messy, but I had fun. It was like a good talk. I got that off my chest, you know. Starting with Dogtown. Phantom Liberty offers a fantastically well-realized new district of Night City, that is Dogtown. And I'm going to start with just one sort of negative thing, although it's not really negative, it's more of, I would say it's more of a nitpick, more so than anything else. Dogtown just feels a little bit more disconnected from Night City than any other district. Like, everything that happens in Dogtown happens in its own time, and in its own rhythm, and everything that happens outside of Dogtown in Night City happens in its own time, in its own rhythm. Dogtown very much, okay, so think about Cyberpunk 2077 as like a Lego, right? Like a huge piece of Lego. Dogtown is like another huge piece of Lego that they attach to it. You know they're a part of the same thing, but this one just doesn't feel, like it feels disconnected. That's kind of how it feels like. Not the worst thing, but obviously when you have a world that is supposed to feel interconnected, it does break away from the experience a little bit when Dogtown does feel slightly disconnected from Night City, but it's not, again, not the worst thing in the world. I think it's fine. Dogtown is located at the heart of Pacifica, and Dogtown represents a corporate dumpster fire, specifically of the Militech flavor, as they serve to be Dogtown's major investor before its inevitable downfall into a combat zone. Trash-littered streets, blood-stained sidewalks, graffiti-covered walls, poverty paints Dogtown a very gritty color. The unfinished buildings and rust-covered monuments remain as echoes of what was supposed to be a wealthy tourist destination. With splashes of corruption and swift brush strokes of under-the-table dealings, Dogtown has easily become a hub for all things shady and, well, illegal. In essence, more than any other district in Night City, Dogtown serves to be the most faithful to Night City's dark side. Away from the eyes of the NCPD, Barguest takes up the mantle of Dogtown's protector. I say protector, but in Night City, protector is often synonymous with oppressor. So take that how you will, but for better or for worse, Barguest is certainly far more truthful in the way they present themselves than NCPD. Furthermore, Barguest harkens back to barbaric times, as they are not afraid to make examples of those who go against their rule. In short, Dogtown is the perfect setting for V to take on new contracts and find more elusive ways to cure their ailment, that is Johnny Silverhand. However, I will say that if I had Johnny Silverhand, or in this case Keanu Reeves, stuck in my head 24/7, I don't know if I'd want him out of my mind. Me and Johnny, we're shooting the shit, you know? Hey Johnny, dude, listen man, I've been having a rough day. Oh yeah, you've been having a rough day, Choom? Fucking sucks for you, dude. When I was in the war, you know? Johnny Silverhand says some like witty Johnny Silverhand shit. So whatever. Moving on from Dogtown, I want to talk about the story and the characters that are provided to us from Phantom Liberty. Give me 1 second, the camera's about to die. Okay, we're back. Dude, if I swear to God, if I had to record that like a third time, I would have lost my shit. Okay, I think it's okay now. I want to talk about the story and characters of Phantom Liberty. Phantom Liberty's story is nothing short of a marvelous cinematic slice of gaming goodness. Let me say that again in a much more, like, advertisement kind of voice.
Phantom Liberty's story is nothing short of a marvelous cinematic slice of gaming goodness.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The spice of choice for Phantom Liberty's story is spy thriller, not dissimilar to stories of James Bond and the like. So as not to spoil Phantom Liberty's story, my coverage will be very general and surface level, more so than anything else. To start, V begins Phantom Liberty by receiving a call from Somi, or Songbird as her co-workers call her. Songbird then entices V with the promise of a cure for their Arasaka ailment, and much like a pig following a carrot on a stick, V takes Songbird's word for such a cure. Perhaps one aspect I enjoy so much about Phantom Liberty is its linearity and build-up to big story expositions. What began as a call soon turned into a spiderweb of secrets and spy-like missions for the player to enjoy. That's probably one of the bigger differences between Phantom Liberty and the base game, is that the base game was far more roller coaster-y, right? You got ups and downs. The Phantom Liberty is far more linear in that sense. The introduction to the base game was very high adrenaline, high octane, and then as soon as that ended, it was coasting throughout Night City doing different gigs, unless you kept with the main story, in which case, still, kind of rollercoastery. But in any case, story missions in Phantom Liberty often take on an extremely cinematic approach to their design and made me feel like, at times, I was playing through an interactive Blade Runner film. With the big set pieces that captivate through audio and visuals, in tandem with superb performances from the main cast of characters, Phantom Liberty offers a degree of mission design and polish that is extremely high and generally well done. Furthermore, following the story does an excellent job in introducing and walking the player through Dogtown as they progress through Phantom Liberty's story. Big names like Kurt Hansen, President Myers, Barguest, and more are introduced to V and help to illustrate a far more encompassing image of what Dogtown exactly is. But Dogtown isn't the only thing to get such excellent treatment. Characters receive such said excellent treatment as well. I found myself often enamored, disgusted, and all sorts of feelings in between by the types of people V meets in Phantom Liberty. I think it may go without saying, but my favorite character by far is Salmon Reed, who's played, of course, by none other than Idris Elba, otherwise known as Knuckles, the Echidna. Alright, that's what it is, right? Echidna? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Salmon Reed, much like Songbird, is a very gray character. His intentions might be clear on a surface level, but he is an NUSA sleeper agent with many secrets and thus cannot be taken at a surface level. His loyalty to the NUSA is confusing and ultimately clashes with his want to help Songbird with whatever it is she may need help with. However confusing his loyalty might be, this helps to add depth to Reed. Reed's not just a dog for the NUSA, but he's his own person who has to make his own choices and ultimately has to live with the consequences of his own actions. Phantom Liberty's story resolves itself quite nicely, if not maybe a little bit too quietly. Still, I think when looking at Phantom Liberty as a whole and what it brings to the table, Phantom Liberty, from a story perspective, is just superb. It's just sublime, you know? Shut up. Moving on from the story and characters, I want to talk about some of the new side content that's available. Starting with gigs. Wow. Wow. The gigs in Phantom Liberty are amazing. Phantom Liberty offers about 10 new gigs within Dogtown, and these gigs are surprisingly well-crafted side missions that are often well fleshed out with their own mini-stories to tell that add to the wealth of lore that Night City offers. These new gigs are reminiscent of bigger missions from Cyberpunk's main story. Characters specific to these gigs are fleshed out extremely well, especially considering that these are side missions and offer the player a well-rounded perspective of who exactly these individuals are. I cannot understate how impressive these gigs are, as they are always surprisingly filled with characters who aren't one-sided and stories that are multifaceted in nature. These gigs often provide the player with more than one way to finish the quest. And, you know, aside from choosing to tackle the quest either stealthily or barbarically, guns blazing and what have you, you have many other options to save people if you are given the choice to save people. You have many other options to resolve the gigs differently depending on who's involved and whatnot. All of this offers really an unexpected level of replayability that I did not have on my list of things I was expecting for Phantom Liberty. The amount of choice and consequence that are available in each of these gigs is very main mission-like, and it is surprising and very, very much welcome. I love it. It's really fun. Moving on from gigs, there are two other pieces of side content, and they're kind of under this subcategory of dynamic side content. They come in two flavors. One flavor is the occasional ordnance drop that happens in Dogtown. So these ordnance drops appear in different parts of Dogtown, and they are followed by a red flare for the player to see. The player can then go ahead and travel to these different ordnance drops and dispose of different enemies who might be around these ordnance drops, whether they're from Barguest, whether they're from the animals, whether they're from the scavs, or the voodoo boys. And once the player is in the clear, they can proceed to loot the ordnance drop and get a lot of good gear, a lot of good crafting components, and a lot of interesting skill shards that they might be able to pick up from these ordnance drops. The other flavor that the new dynamic side content comes in is these driving missions that are offered by Muammar, who is a fixer that you meet in the base game. So these missions begin with an icon on the minimap that resembles a blue steering wheel. Should the player decide to go to this icon, they'll be tasked to take a vehicle to a drop-off point. This, together with the ordnance drops, are randomly generated and don't disappear ever, offering the player much smaller scale but never-ending side content. This dynamic side content is honestly a little underwhelming and really just, it's not something I'd really bother with, but it's better than nothing, I suppose, and it does offer a little something for the players who decide to maybe go back to an old save and play around with Dogtown and Night City as a whole. All in all, I would say that the new side content offered in Phantom Liberty is a huge net positive, even if some of the dynamic side content, both pieces of dynamic side content are pretty lackluster in general. The last thing I want to talk about is the Relic skill tree. I Personally, I was expecting the Relic skill tree to be much bigger than it is, but I will say each of the perks and skills they do not disappoint. They're very powerful. I'm running a Mantis Blade build in my main save of Cyberpunk, and the one Relic perk I guess the two Relic perks that are specific to Mantis Blades, really, they increase my damage output by insane amounts of numbers and percentages and whatnot. Another thing is that my mobility is increased like exponentially as well through the Relic perk skill tree. With the upgrades available for my Mantis Blades, I can essentially just leap from enemy to enemy and behead everyone in a matter of seconds, especially when I have my Sandevistan equipped. And of course, there's other aspects of this of a Relic skill tree that you can use. One of them is mainly for active camouflage. Another one is for enabling enemy weak points or vulnerability points. And there are other Relic perks for the different arm cyberware that you can get, like monowire, gorilla arms, Mantis Blades, and projectile launch system. I've never actually used that one. I should probably make a build out of that one of these days. In any case, that's the Relic skill tree. It is not the most expansive, but it is very impactful to gameplay, so a lot of fun. I love the Relic skill tree. But in conclusion, Phantom Liberty is definitely a bittersweet and superbly crafted ode to the end of Cyberpunk 2077. With a wealth of expertly crafted gigs that often take on a cinematic feel, new dynamic side content to keep players busy endlessly, an entirely new district of Night City to explore, and of course, a stellar and enthralling story with an unforgettable cast of characters, Phantom Liberty is truly an amazing expansion pack. While I do fervently wish for more content regarding Cyberpunk 2077, I cannot help but be excited for what is to come in Cyberpunk 2 or Project Orion. And from the bottom of my heart, CPR, won't watch this, but still, dude, thanks, man. Fantastic. Love it. Thank you for all your hard work. Really do appreciate it. It's a good game. Fucking great game. And that's gonna be that for this video. I've recorded this video. I've said it in the beginning, but I recorded this video 3 times. Oh my god. This is the 3rd time. Ugh. Ugh. I sound like a fucking snob. It's so annoying. No, it's whatever. It's fine. It's good fun. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. There's so much content out there on YouTube, let alone Cyberpunk content out there on YouTube, and you decided to watch this all the way through. Dude, shout out. Props. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, please feel free to subscribe, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I also live stream on this channel, so catch that when you can, I guess. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh.